And welcome back to Newsday. Governors across Nigeria joined forces with the education technology firm Newglobe in Abuja to tackle the country's worsening learning crisis. Despite rising enrollment, more than 10 million Nigerian children remain out of school, and studies show 3 in 4 pupils cannot read a simple passage by the age of 10. Speakers blamed undervalued teachers, inconsistent policies, poor funding, and a heavy focus on infrastructure instead of actual learning. Newglobe outlined its model, which provides teachers with digital tools, structured lesson guides, and real-time coaching. This approach is already in use in Lagos, Kwara, Edo, Bayelsa, and Jigawa states and have significantly boosted teachers' effectiveness. The Governor's Forum stressed that access alone is not enough. Children must be actually able to learn. UBEC also urged stakeholders to work together, aligning policies and ensuring funds are spent on interventions that directly improve learning outcomes. Now, the meeting ended with a call for urgent and deliberate action to transform foundational access for education across Nigeria. Well, Nigeria's future hinges on a system where every child learns, not just attends school. The dialogue between the governors, the Nigerian Governors Forum, and the Newglobe could be the spark for turning that vision into reality. Laide Abel is the programming managing director for Newglobe, and she joins us now for a chat. Great to have you join us. Thank you so much for honoring the invitation today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, UNICEF data is showing that over 10 million Nigerian children are out of school. How does poor foundational learning impact the country and our future?
Well, I'm sure you know that the foundation is the most important part of anything. Even in a building, the foundation is the most important part. So when there is poor learning at the foundational level, and the foundational level is what we call basic education. So from early childhood development or nursery, all the way through primary school and to JSS 3. So when the foundation is weak, when children are unable to read at that level, what happens is all through their education up to university level, they struggle. Once you haven't built that foundation properly, they struggle. And if you talk to a lot of employers today, they will tell you, and I experienced it, you interview about 100 people for a role and you struggle to find one good person. And the problem starts from the foundation. So it has significant impact on the social and the economic aspects of the country.
Well, you know, some alarming figures here. 18.3 million out-of-school children, actually, from the latest figure from UNICEF. That's quite worrisome. But what do you think are the major challenges? Why do we have this huge number of out-of-school children in Nigeria?
Right. So let me start by saying that, you know, so many numbers have been bandied around. But the most important thing is we do have a significant number of out-of-school children. And it's a major problem. And there's so many contributors to that factor. Some parents are just unaware. They just don't understand that education is so important for the children. Even in 2025, you find parents who do not know. I was talking to someone just before I came here, and I said, part of the problem is a lot of us at this level, we don't interact with people at the grassroots, you know, and we don't understand how bad the problem is. Another issue that causes out-of-school children is there are migrant communities. So in Kwara, where I work with these children, there's some terms where a child is in school and the next term you hear that the child is no longer in school because the parents have moved somewhere else. And you don't know whether that child is back in school or not. And you'll be amazed to find that there are parents who still think it is better for their children to help them with farming than to go to school, even in this day and age. So there's so many contributory factors. And part of it also is a lot of parents cannot afford to send their children to school. Now, government primary schools are free, but where the quality is bad, I mean, imagine there's a mother who needs the child to help them in the market. They sent one child, they say, okay, let me try. They say education is good. I send this child to school, a government primary school. The child leaves primary 6, cannot read, cannot write. What will the mother say? The siblings are likely not going to go to school. So there are many factors that contribute to the issue of out-of-school children. But the important thing is, it is a topic now that both within Nigeria and outside Nigeria, we're all looking at and looking for a way to solve. So I think that is a good starting point.
There are many layers to the decay in the education system. But what exactly could we pinpoint within the building, within the education system building itself? Now, once the kids are already in school, once they've gotten to the building, what is the issue? Is it the quality of the training of the teachers? Is it their motivation? Is it their lack of on-time payment, et cetera? What is at the heart of education reform, and how can we better equip ourselves to give teachers the tools that they need to better educate the children that actually do turn up into those buildings?
So I will tell you, there's no silver bullet. So it is not a single issue. Everything you said is part of the problem. Are the teachers well trained? That's a very good part of the problem. The teachers need to be well trained. And even when we're talking about teacher training, because every state will tell you that we train our teachers from time to time, but the question is, what are we training them on? Are we training them on how to speak? Even the teachers, are we training them on literacy, numeracy? Are we training them on how to teach the children? Because there is a way that you have to teach children for them to understand. So teacher training is a core part of the problem, and that reflects in teacher quality, as you rightly said. Another part of the problem is the commitment of the teachers. So even when the teachers are competent, how committed are they? Because if a teacher gets to school at 10 a.m. instead of 7:30 a.m., the kids have lost, valuable hours of learning time. So we have to talk about the commitment of the teachers, which flows into motivation, like you rightly said. So that is part of the problem as well. And of course, we have to talk about, learning and teaching materials also for the teachers. So it's a multifaceted problem, and there are so many things that need to be done. And I'm glad that when you were talking earlier, you spoke about Newglobe. One of the reasons why Newglobe is so successful is that we have researched on all the issues that affect the learning outcome of the children. And there are many, and I'm sure I'll have a chance to talk about them at some point. And so we bring all of this together to ensure that we achieve improved learning outcome for children.
So maybe we should delve into that now. What exactly do you do, and how do you intend to improve the learning outcomes in Nigeria?
Okay, so I'd like to say it is not even an intention any longer, because we've been doing this and we've worked with state governments, some state governments in Nigeria. And what we do, we call it a 360-degree approach, because there are many dimensions, there are many things you need to put in place. The first thing is, whatever solution will work has to be done at scale. It cannot be a solution that you prefer for 1 or 2 or 10 primary schools. In Kwara State, for example, where I work directly, the government primary schools are over 1,600, and they're spread across the entire state. So that tells you immediately that technology is a tool that we must deploy instantly. And one of the things we do is that we deploy technology to all the schools. What is at the heart of what Newglobe does? 2 critical things. We must transform the quality of education, and we also must standardize the quality of education. And what this means is, if you're in Kwara State, for example, Ilorin is the capital, it's a city. A child in Ilorin and a child in a remote area in Kwara, they must get the same quality of education, so that if a child, just because they're born in a socially or economically disadvantaged part of the state, they shouldn't have to suffer for that. So we transform and we standardize education. So digitalization is one of the things we do. And we also do a lot of research. And I'll explain to you. So imagine that you have a child in primary 6 who is unable to read at the grade level of primary 2. So you have a child in primary 6, and you put a 3-letter word before that child, T-H-E, there. We all assume that every child at that level should be able to read, but you actually watch a child struggle to read T-H-E or to read Y-O-U, right? And this child is in primary 6, so what are you going to do? So what we do is we've researched into the pedagogy. The pedagogy is just, how you teach, what the contents of the lessons should be. We research into it, and it's like flying an airplane and fixing it at the same time. Because you have to keep teaching that kid at primary 6 level, but then you rush, a lot of literacy and numeracy into that kid so that you now start from primary 2 and teach that kid primary 2, 3, 4, 5 before the kid leaves primary 6, right? So that you show up and then they're able to read and they're able to do numeracy sums that they should be able to do. It's like when someone has a very high temperature, you rush them into the hospital, intravenous drip, instantly. So that's one of the things we do. And then we train the teachers. Before any teacher is brought into the system, our system, we train them. Is a 10-day intensive training program where we train them everything from how to use digital tools to how to teach the children to what the culture in the classroom should be to motivate the children to learn, and to even their own behavior in the classroom, how they must get to class on time, how they cannot leave before the closing hours. Beyond that is the fact that we also collect a lot of data because you need data. You cannot do this without accurate, scrubbed, reliable, and relevant data. So it's a two-way system for us. We're distributing lessons digitally. We're also collecting data. And we use the data to do a lot of things. One of the things we use the data for is to continue to tweak our own systems and methodology as well. But also for our government partners, we use the data to assist them to administer the schools better. So these are some of the things that we do as Newglobe. So, I just want to emphasize the point that this problem is not a linear problem. A linear solution will not correct it. And it's important to create the awareness that we all have to come together. We also engage the community. The parents have a role to play. Community leaders, we go on enrollment drive because of the out-of-school children, And when we go on enrollment drive, I can talk about this till tomorrow. So if you need to stop me, just tell me.
Well, on that note,
you need to stop me.
Laide, Abel,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
We wish you all the best for the
you.
Newglobe program. You're the managing director for Newglobe. Thank you so much for joining us today on Newsday.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can I just say something before I leave?
Yes,
I just want to appeal, to anyone who's listening to this. And to Arise, I thank you for bringing this to, national attention, that we all have to join hands together. Because if a child is unable to read, what you're doing effectively, we're gagging them. That's what we're doing effectively. And there are millions of children in this situation. And it's a problem that we all have to come together to solve, and solve very quickly. Thank you very much for having me.